Hi everyone, and welcome to this bite-sized session on business-to-business sales pipelines. If you're selling business to business and would like to understand more about sales pipelines, we're going to be covering off the concepts, the activity, the stages, and the pipeline speed, and all those good things for you in this session here. So, first thing I would just like to manage expectations. Please don't get hung up on the actual words in the different sections of your pipeline. You may well call it a sales funnel, not a pipeline. Again, don't get hung up on the words. I can almost guarantee the names here that we use, you will have different names, and that's perfectly okay. I'm just trying to get over the concepts at the moment of how the pipelines work, how they interact, and why this is really important from a sales perspective. Before I move on, if you don't have any information on this and you're looking for some quick start guides and templates, jump on over to closers.com, KLOZ or a Z if you're dialing in from the States, KLOZERS.com, and you can download that playbook which has got all of our templates and guides, and it's 100% free. So, sales funnel with a sales pipeline. Most of you will be familiar with some form of sales pipeline, and most of you will be familiar with some form of marketing funnel at the top. You may call it a sales funnel. Again, don't get hung up on the semantics. So, typically, what happens is that buyers, 80% of purchases are made to solve some form of business pain. So, typically, what happens is that the buyer will become aware of the business pain. The first thing they're going to do is ask if they can solve this internally. When they can't solve it internally, they will see if anybody knows anybody, and that's called a referral. I'm sure you're aware of that. And when they can't get a referral or they just want to go to the wider market, they're going to jump on the internet and start doing searches. And they're in what we would describe as the awareness mode. And they're aware of the problem and they're starting to research possible solutions. And moving down from that, they're looking for information that's going to educate them on the different options that are available and the potential suppliers. And then lastly, they're going to do some form of evaluation of those options and suppliers. Now, in a B2C market, typically what's going to happen is that this is going to move into a shopping cart and they will buy online, and there's little or no interaction with any form of salespeople. And there may be exceptions to that in terms of live chat, I accept, but for the most part, they're going to come through a marketing funnel and they're going to drive them to a shopping cart. Business to business, however, is slightly different. And what's going to happen is that they're going to come on the website, and once they've gone through that evaluation phase, they've potentially picked a short list of 3 suppliers, and they're going to start to reach out, and they'll do that via your contact us page, and maybe again your live chat, maybe via the telephone number on your website, whatever. But they're going to reach out, and at this point here, as a salesperson, you're going to be receiving some form of lead. And then, as it's our job in sales to prosecute those leads and move them through the sales pipeline, and turn that into a purchase order. So typically, the sort of analytics and the data that we could have from the marketing side was provided by some form of marketing automation software, and the CRM, the sales pipelines, they were built inside CRM software. Now, the world has moved on again, and nearly every marketing automation company has now integrated some form of sales pipeline into the software, and equally, every CRM software supplier has integrated some functionality in terms of marketing automation. And that actually makes sense, because the more information we can have as a salesperson from what pages and what posts on your website the buyer has been actually investigating and looking at, it's easier to start that conversation. It's easier to understand what's their primary pain point, and it's easy to understand, or easier, I should say, to understand how we can move them forward through the sales process. So, I'm just trying to explain the concept here. business to consumer, you're going to go through this marketing funnel here, and they're typically going to go to a shopping cart. Business to business is going to go to a sales lead. I totally accept that there will be some B2B where you will be driving them to, in terms of SaaS, you will driving them to your shopping cart. I totally get that. It's just easier to explain for people to think about things like Amazon and eBay where they're doing that and driving people to a shopping cart. So a little bit more about the marketing funnel at the very top, because this is what feeds our sales pipeline. This is the important things that feeds our sales pipeline. This is what marketing do to help us and support our salespeople. So top of funnel, tofu, right? Typically they're going to be providing some form of how-to guides, posts, explainer videos, etc. Mofu is the middle of funnel. Again, this is where we're educating them, and you're going to be doing that through white papers. I think for me that's a little bit old hat, but you're going to be putting up maybe user examples, presentations. You may be offering them trials or demonstrations. And bottom of funnel, remember this is where they're selecting their final three. They typically are going to select three companies so that they can prove to their colleagues that they've completed what we would call due diligence. It's very unlikely they're just going to go out to the market to one supplier. It's not impossible, but it's unlikely. They will typically go to three different suppliers so they can get a sense check on pricing, so they can get a sense check on terms and the sort of user experience and the different solutions that are available. So at this point here, it's obviously more important to have things like testimonials, reviews, and case studies that are aligned with their particular industry, if possible. So SaaS, software as a service, it may well be that you have a very simple pipeline. Off the top of my head, something simple would be if you're LinkedIn. Here's a really simple example. LinkedIn, they do have salespeople, but for the majority of the market, individual users, they're driving traffic to the site. They've got them on the site, and most business people are on that site, but they're attracting the graduates, and they're helping them with solutions in terms of finding their first jobs. But they're signing them up. They've given them that. In this case, it's not a free trial, but a free account, and they're then upselling them. But it's a self close. There's nobody ringing at LinkedIn, ringing up all these different graduates individually, trying to sell them a $40, $50 solution on LinkedIn. I absolutely accept, though, that they do have salespeople who are ringing up businesses to sell them business solutions, so they will have more than one pipeline, and that in itself is worth noting. It may be that your business, if you have different products or services, that you may require more than one pipeline, and the pipeline could be dramatically different. I would venture to suggest that the pipeline for a standard and simple LinkedIn sign up will be very different to the pipelines that they use for selling something like their learning solutions into enterprise organizations. On the left here, we've got an example of a complex pipeline. Again, please don't get hung up on the actual words, but typically what's happening is in SaaS, you're driving traffic, there's some form of a lead magnet. At the very least, they're going to capture your email address, if not your browsing history, and they're going to then somehow nurture you potentially through some form of email campaign, and they're trying to engage you. And then once they've engaged you, they're going to try and develop you, and you would have what I would describe potentially as an assisted close. So there's maybe going to be some salespeople involved. There's maybe going to be a more complex demonstration involved. And again, nearly every business can have a different sales pipeline depending on the sales methodology that you're using, depending on your business processes. Don't get hung up on the words. It's the concepts I'm trying to explain here. So other examples in terms of driving traffic, I should say, whether you're on the complex or simple pipeline, You might be doing some things like pay-per-click. You may be doing things like content marketing. You may have your sales team doing outreach campaigns, cold email, LinkedIn, social selling. All those different things are going to be the things that you will need to do to fill that yellow stage, the very top of the funnel. Regardless of what industry you're in, everybody needs to fill the top of their funnel. And that I would describe as probably the biggest challenge for every business, especially through the lockdown. Uh, Business has been completely disrupted. Many businesses have gone online. Buyers are now more difficult to contact directly via telephone and email than ever before. So that lead generation, that filling of the top pipeline is really, really important for all of us. Next up, weighted sales pipeline. So once we've got a sales pipeline and we've got deals moving through that pipeline, here are just a few basics that I would suggest that you look at in terms of developing that pipeline and getting it into a place where it's going to be a really good management tool and help you with forecasting. So some of the questions that you should be asking. What qualifies a prospect to move to the next stage? That's a common one that most companies don't seem to really think about and discuss. From a sales perspective, what questions do I need to ask before I'm going to move a prospect to the next stage? And from a management perspective, what are the comm skills or the soft skills of the team that we need to develop so that they can maintain rapport as they're moving the deals through the pipeline? You can see here we've just got some examples. I'm not suggesting that you in any way copy this. I would love to think that you've got a beautiful pipeline dashboard on your CRM system. If you've not got a CRM, I would strongly urge you to invest in a CRM. I'm not going to advocate any CRM. There's lots of great CRM systems out there. I would just strongly recommend that you start and get yourself a CRM. And you maybe don't need the full-blown complex systems that are out there. You can maybe start on something more simple and maybe move yourself up to that those what I would describe as maybe Rolls-Royce solutions. So when you've got these management dashboards, they will be much better than this. But typically what you're looking at is how many deals have I got at each stage? What's the average value of those deals? And these are the sort of stages that you're going through. This could be a sales qualified lead. This is where you're doing requirements gathering. This is where it would be defined as a genuine opportunity. And once it's defined, you're going to have to develop it, propose and negotiate. I would accept that this is probably more geared up to what we would describe as a complex sale if you're selling into enterprise organizations. If you can simplify this, if you can strip any of the complexity out of this, in your business, I would urge you to do so. These are only guides. I would never suggest that you copy these exactly. On the right hand side, once you've got these deals and you're running them through the pipeline, you can start to work out what is the percentage chance of these closing. So, and this percentage chance should increase by the time you get to the end. If you've got a deal where you've gone through, right to the end, right, and issued proposals and are in that negotiating stage, if it's still at a 5% chance of closing, there's something way wrong in the system there. So, as it goes through the pipeline, the chances of it closing are supposed to increase. And when it gets there, if you can see, we've got quite a large jump there. That's because we would advocate that you're qualifying hard all the way through to this stage here, qualifying through hard. And at this point here, if the deal's got to this stage, the chances of it moving forward into an order are much more likely. So these are great things to help you forecast. You will find that there'll be variances even between different salespeople. The way that they actually qualify deals, you can find that some people will naturally qualify harder than others, and you could even break it down into individual salespeople, that qualifying, but it's important that you've got that qualifying there. So I hope that's been of benefit to you. I hope that's going to be of some advantage. If you're watching this on YouTube, please subscribe. Please hit the thumbs up. If you feel you've benefited, please share it as well with any of your colleagues and your work staff. And lastly, if you get a chance, jump on over to Closers, get yourself a copy of the free sales playbook, and we look forward to keeping in touch with you. Thank you.